are moving on to the final session of this international virtual workshop, and the session is going to be handled by Dr. Sagar, Assistant Professor, School of Management, Presidency University, Bangalore, India. He has completed his PhD in agricultural economics, and he has published scientific publications in national and international level. And not only that, he has participated in many seminars, workshops, and conferences. We are very happy to have you among us, sir. The session is yours.
Ma'am, I'm going to cover the topic related to the the research article writing, how to write the research article, and the process, and like why we are writing the research articles, particularly the academicians and the researchers. Okay, let us look at the concept. What is research writing? A specific method of sharing one's insight. One's insight means whatever we do the analysis with respect to some research activity or some research in order to solve or solve some problems or some objectives, we could able to represent in the data as well as some graph as well as some tables. So we want to publish those information. Right? Why we need to publish or why we need to share with the other journals? These are all some of the questions in the beginning of our career. So these are all the questions will be answered through this slide. Like since while doing any research activity, while publishing some of the research output, we'll be having some confusion. Like still there are some still there is a scope for the improvement, all those things. So we could able to obtain the feedback from the experts. Once it is published, many people will go through the particular research activity or the research output or the article. So we could able to get the feedback, and we could able to obtain the professional network, the various universities, research institutes, various ministries. So like there will be many people, even in the ministries also, who study or who go through some of the research articles, particularly the professional research journals and the articles. And there will be growth for the opportunities and establishment of credibility, and we could able to acknowledge some of the like institute as well as some of the contributors. And the most important thing is the job requirement. One has to publish the research articles. This is the most important one. And to begin with, how to start the research article writing, or to start with the research article writing, we have to do a research activity, or there should be some research work before publishing any research work. Sorry. Identification of specialization. Sorry. Specialization should be there. For example, if there is a student who is pursuing the PhD program, and if he is having the expertise in the natural resource economics, if he is from agricultural economics, so the PhD student guide as well as the other advisory committee people, they should encourage the particular student who is having the expertise in the respective domain. So if he is having a specialization or more interest towards a particular concept, then he could do more in the particular areas. So the specialization with respect to in-depth knowledge about the particular topic is very important, and the selection of topic should be like that. For a research activity or a research work, it should be unique one with respect to it is not a repetitive work. If it is repetitive, what will happen? It is very difficult to publish, because someone who is in some other university or research institute might have published the similar kind of work. So the logical reasoning should be there. Logical reasoning means we have to go through this we have to identify some gaps in the existing research, and we have to address those address the particular gaps. And very important thing for any research article or any research output, sorry, research work, it is a practical applicability. What all the policy implications that we are proposing or we are advising. And another thing is how best other researchers can make use of the improved methodology which is given in the particular article. Improved methodology or the existing methodology or some new subject or new knowledge that we have added through the particular research article. So these are all very important for any research article or for any research work. This one has to look into these parameters. If we do not have the specialization, better to avoid those research areas. And specialization comes through the regular studies and hard work, and we should have in-depth knowledge. So we should go through this particular topics, the parameters. So once we decided some research topic to go through that or to pursue the particular research work, we will start with the once the output is obtained in the research work, the introduction that we write, right? So we will provide the basic information about the particular topic, what we have, why we have chosen the research work, or what is the reason for identifying the particular topic. Suppose if a particular student is from the Rainfed area, there are, I think, many people will be knowing the rainfed and irrigated situation and the areas. If he is from the rainfed area, he will be having more in-depth knowledge about the rainfed area, particularly than the irrigated area. So if he wishes to undertake the climate variability concept, climate variability and its impact on overall agricultural growth, the cropping pattern change, and the impact on the agricultural income and the coping mechanism and the adaptation strategies. So he has to observe all those terminologies. Like he has to study various literatures, and he has to mention some of the literature, even in the literature or in the introduction as well. The IPCC report we can mention. So introduction gives basic information, the brief information about the particular topic initially, and then we will make use of some of the references even in the introduction as well, so that it will have more weightage that we have studied some of the most relevant research output and we are incorporating into the particular introduction. And then we will frame the objectives of the particular study, and we will mention the objectives in the introduction part, that is to identify to analyze the temporal variability of climate parameters like maximum temperature and minimum temperature, and the overall rainfall, annual rainfall, the number of rainy days, and then the rainfall pattern in the monsoon months, pre-monsoon, and the monsoon and the post-monsoon, that is northeast monsoon, particularly for India. So we have to mention all those things. We have to study those, and in the particular objectives, and then we need to frame the respective objectives, which is actually having some interlinkages. For example, if the first objective is to analyze the temporal variability of climate parameters in the temperature and rainfall, and the second objective will be to analyze the change in cropping pattern due to the climate variability. So the second objective will be having the link with the first objective. We cannot frame another new objective in the second objective, because there should be some linkage. So we are going to solve some problem step by step. So the second object usually some researchers will frame some new and different distinct objectives, but it is a regular pattern and the regular process that we follow, that the second objective and the third objective and the fourth objective will be having the chain of actions, that is it will be interlinked, that is these are all dependent, that is the outcome of first will have influence on the second objective to solve or to go through that, like that. So in the introduction we will frame we will provide the basic information about the topic and then objective, and then to end with some of the hypotheses and the research gaps as well, identify the research gap which is existing in the particular area, the climate variability or climate change, or the given watershed development, watershed areas, so soil and water conservation areas, So this all comes under the introduction. And then, while framing the hypothesis, we should take utmost care because we cannot frame in a very general way the hypothesis. The climate variability has caused, has resulted in increase in the temperature, increase in the maximum temperature and in minimum temperature. We can frame like that, but we cannot generalize too much. So you should have a clear hypothesis. We should frame the clear hypothesis, and you should have the hypothesis should be having direct linkage, or it should be having the relationship with the particular objective. The objective is something, and we cannot frame some other hypothesis which is not at all related. So we have to observe those parameters. So with the given objective, we are solving some hypothesis which is related to the particular objective. That is, in the second objective, for example, there is a change in the cropping pattern from water-intensive crops to water-intensive crops to less water-intensive crops. That is, the objective is that to study the cropping pattern change, to study the cropping pattern due to the climate variability. So here we are framing the hypothesis that there is a cropping pattern has been shifted from high water-intensive crops to less water-intensive crops. So there will be some linkage. And in the coping and adaptation strategies as well. So coping and adaptation means the farmers are adopting the measures which are having most, they are adopting the livestock component. It is a coping mechanism. So these are all we have to frame in the hypothesis. All too often, people start a project, and we should actually we should avoid drifting. That is, while doing the research, many things many people used to find these things, these areas. While going through some of the additional literature, while discussing with the experts, while discussing with some other researchers, we will get some new ideas, new thoughts. So we will think that let us include those aspects into our research. We cannot do that because we have already framed some set of objectives and some set of hypotheses as well, and we have started some of the research activities as well, which is which has been defined based on the previous experience as well as the various our expertise. So as and when we receive better ideas, new methodologies, so we can make use of those for the upcoming research activity, not because it's already finalized. Means we have to satisfy those objectives. We have to. Literature is very, very important for writing the thesis as well as for the writing research article. If we do not know the past particular research work, it is very difficult to study to draw a new conclusion or to add some new knowledge on the subject matter. So that is very important. The review of literature, it provides both pros and cons with respect to given methodology as well as given output. The given methodology, for example, Markov chain analysis is used to find out the change in the cropping pattern. Markov chain analysis makes use of the transitional probability matrix. So there will be many more methodologies will be there with respect to, in order to find out in order to find out the particular methodology. We can improve the methodology, okay, and even we can improve the particular the subject matter as well. And the methodology should be expressed in the past tense, particularly we should write clear enough planning experimental design. For example, if we are doing some research activity with respect to climate variability, we should make use of we should select the areas which is drought prone, which is having the problem of droughts or floods, and we should not identify the particular study area which is actually neutral in the particular climate variability of climate change, which is not having any effect at all. So in order to understand the particular, in order to obtain some output, that area should be having some impact. For example, if there is a researcher in Karnataka, if he wishes to find out the effect of climate variability on farming systems in some of in Karnataka state, so Chitradurga and Kolar and Chikbalapur districts, and in the northern Karnataka, the Bijapur, Raichur, Bidar. So these are all different districts which are highly vulnerable. They're vulnerable. It is having high vulnerability to the climate variability. So we have to select the regions or the places or the particular area which is having the which is most drought prone, or the which is having the flood problem as well, so that we could able to analyze like what is happening with respect to climate variability or climate change. If there is no cause and effect relationship, then in the final stage, in the expression of the doing interpretation, the resultant discussion, we may say that there is no effect of climate variability in this region, and actually that is also fine. That's also fine. If there is no impact at all, that is also fine. But we have to provide some information which is new in the particular subject. That is, we should add into the subject matter with respect to climate variability, particularly which is drought prone, and these are all the regions. So, what is the extent of reduction in the agricultural income due to the drought or due to the consecutive droughts, or some of the floods? We should analyze those. The experimental design is very much important, important with respect to selection of the study area as well as the selection of sample as well. Sampling process is very important, because if the sample is not representative, for example, and he says that near to some tank or some other like water resource area, so we should select the sample which is representative of the population. So the selection of study area, selection of sample, and the selection of the enumerators. Suppose if the sample, if the overall sample is, for example, 5,000, you think that it is a very big project. So, like what one cannot do the data collection for of all the 5,000 farmers or the samples. So while doing the selection of enumerators also, we should analyze that we should have the basic information about the particular sample. If they do not have, we have to train them, and we should obtain the results. Sorry, we should obtain the data according to the existing one, because whatever the farmers say, we cannot note it down. So the enumerator should have basic information about the particular concept. So this all comes under the methodology concept, methodology chapter or the area. One should take care if we fail in the methodology in framing the framing of objectives and hypothesis. That was very important, and selection of study area and the sampling process and the various methodology that we make use to satisfy or to solve the particular objectives. These are all comes under the methodology. So we have to take utmost care. Which are all the methodologies? For example, to analyze the cropping pattern change, Markov-Chain analysis, it is a transitional probability matrix. It is most widely used. And to analyze the temporal variability of the climate parameters, that is maximum, minimum temperature, and rainfall with respect to annual rainfall, and as I said, various months and various monsoon months and all those. We make use of homogeneity test to find out the structural break. We are saying it's a climate variability, which is nothing but there should be increase or decrease in the temperature or the rainfall in the respective period. So we have to analyze through some shift in the pattern. So which test to make use of? The homogeneity test. There are many tests. The homogeneity test is the best one, like standard normal homogeneity test, Petit test. So these are all some of the tests. So in order to identify some of the tests also to solve some of the objective or to go through that is also very important. The methodology is very important. Choosing materials and methods, and And we do not have all the information or the knowledge sometimes, it's not many times. So we should get the help from the experienced experts and colleagues. If we are beginner, it's not only for beginner, for everybody. So why it is required to have to get the information or to get knowledge from other, we can minimize the time, money, energy, and resources. Otherwise, what will happen? We may end up with some other result which is not at all reflective of the particular area, and it's a waste of time that we have carried out some 1 year or 6 months, and waste of money, which is research fund, waste of money, and waste of energy as well. Energy with respect to whatever the time that we have spent, we will be we'll spend the energy as well as resources. So it's all waste. So we should take care in the particular areas. And expected research contribution. This is also one has to take care. So what you want to study here, as I said, I'm giving some example of climate variability or climate change. So what we are going to study, and why we want to study the particular one. So, and how our results will contribute to the current pool of knowledge for the subject. So the overall research objective is we are adding something to the existing subject matter. If we are not adding, if it is repetitive, it's a waste. It's a waste both in doing the PhD research or some other like faculty research or from the researcher research. So if we are not adding, it's a waste only, waste of, as I said, the previous one. So what we are going to study and why we are going to study, we need to identify with respect to the research contribution, what we are going to deliver into the area, subject area. So we need to note down everything before doing any research activity or any research work. Once we note down all this, from the introduction to the till the research expected outcome, so we could able to frame a good research proposal, as well as we could do we could able to work in a better way. Okay, organize this was very important, providing some information that is obtained results in the tables and figures and in the charts and visualization of the results. It's all very important. We need to organize the tables and figures and present tabular results. So, like many people make use of all the tables in a particular research article. Around 6 to 8 tables will be there, and sometimes the tables actually the tables should be self-explanatory. Self-explanatory means we should not go through the literature part to understand the tables. This is very important in any research article or in the thesis also. If it is too much of if a particular table is having too much of data, it is actually we cannot obtain some basic information about the particular table. And the table should have a table title. Particularly, we should reflect the particular table composition, like components. So these are all very important. The title of the table and the overall content in the table, it should match. Many times, the researchers, many times there will be some problem with the content and the title, and it is applicable for both the tables as well as the figures. That is, we will be having some visual output, right, with respect to, for example, climate variability means we will be having some visual effects from 1901 in India. The climate parameters, that is temperature data is available from 1901 to till date. So we'll be having the we'll be having the charts with respect to the the trend of the maximum temperature and the shift from where the maximum temperature or the minimum temperature is fixed. So we have to provide the relevant and most relevant title for the particular one, for particular figure as well as the table one. That is very important, and we need to we need to mention the numbers of particular table and chart. That's also very important, both in the thesis as well as in the research article. So organize tables and figures. So both the tables and figures should be like that. It should be self-explanatory. Otherwise, the chances of rejection will be a little bit higher. So like there will be more suggestions from the reviewers. There will be more suggestions, and we everybody know that in the while explanation while doing the explanation about the results or the some discussion, we will make use of the past tense that we have conducted as the research was obtained, the data was used, the rainfall data of Chitradurga district was used from 1901 to 2022. It was used. So, yeah, in the tables and figures, we are just providing the facts actually in the tables. We are not providing any interpretation. Sometimes, like some researchers make use of the interpretation in the tables. They used to mention if at all there is a significance level, 5%, 1%, like 1%, 5%, and 10% level of significance, we will make use of star and we will provide in the note. We will not provide in the particular table itself. So we are not providing any interpretation within a table. So we have to take utmost care in the table. Just table means it is just data. We are representing some data, which is the output of some analysis, some tabular analysis or some econometric analysis. All those will come to this table. So finally, like we need to explain the obtained research in the discussion part or within the sometimes within the results itself we will be explaining, and then the final one is the abstract one. Whatever we have studied, the research activity or we have conducted the research work, we have to explain in brief in the abstract. That is, we have to give background why we have selected in very few sentences. These are all like what is the motivation behind this particular study. Like since the particular student is from rainfed area or from irrigated area, he has experienced more droughts or floods in his region or in his district. So we will mention that these are all the most drought-prone districts of the Karnataka state, India. So that's why the region or the district has been selected purposively in order to study or in order to identify the in order to estimate the effect of climate variability on the farming system. So these are all the motivation of the context on the background. So we have to mention in brief about the particular topic and what are all the objectives that we have undertaken or we have chosen, we have identified. So we need to explain, like we need to mention in the abstract that these are all the objectives which were like studied in the particular area, and then the methodology also we will explain, that is like Markov-Chain analysis and autoregressive error correction model was used to identify the effect of climate parameters on the district agricultural income. Autoregressive error correction model and the homogeneity test is used to find out the temporal variability of climate parameters, temporal variability, and the results and discussion we will like explain in detail in the results and discussion portion, and in the abstract we will just provide the basic information about the design, and the conclusion and the implication we should do the conclusion about the overall like objectives that we have like we have obtained the overall information or the data, right? We need to climate variability poses a great challenge to the rainfed areas. The government to the rainfed area, there should be an income support for the farmers. Income support should be provided to the rainfed farmers. Since in India, the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Yojana is there, 2,000 rupees is given to every farmer who is having the land record. So 2,000 for each season, Kharif season, Rabi season, and the summer season. So three seasons within 1 year, the farmer is getting 6,000 per year. So it is an income support for the climate variability. So these are all some of the policy implications. And since the livestock acts as a shield against any climate variability, so livestock component has to be promoted in those areas where there is a high where the region is highly vulnerable. So these are all the policy implications, and providing the subsidies for the farm inputs. in the for the rainfed areas, more subsidies for the farm inputs, and providing more information like ICT, information and communication technology, like access to the more information by the extension agents. So these are all some of the implications that we can suggest for the particular study area based on the output, the research outcome that we obtain. We have to provide the policy implication according to that. We cannot provide some other policy implication in the research article as well as in the PhD thesis. We have studied something, we cannot provide some other policy implication. So everything should be it should have the chain of action or chain linkages from the objective to hypothesis, from the objectives to the methodology, from the methodology to the result, from the results to some discussion, from results and discussion to final the given abstract, and within the abstract also the overall flow of entire thesis or entire work, research work in the abstract form, and then the policy implication. Policy implication, it should be like as the sample, it should be having it should be representative of the population. The policy implication also, it should be representative of the of our research work. If it is not if it is not representative, then nobody will believe the particular policy implication, because we have not studied that research concept or the research work. We have not solved any research problem, and we are providing the implication for the another research problem. So it is very difficult, or it becomes strange for the other researcher or the some bureaucrats who study some of the research articles. So these are all the overall actually information that I wanted to some of the concepts that I wanted to brief about, since it was very it's a very short presentation. If you people are if there is any doubt, please please ask. If you have any doubt, please. It's open for discussion. And I wanted to mention one more concept. The 1 minute, let me share that research article. Yeah. So a typical structure of a research paper, as we discussed, we should have the introduction state why the research problem that we are addressing is very important. We have identified one research problem that is very important, and it should be distinct and like a unique one, right? As we discussed, and state what is lacking in the current knowledge. That is, we have to identify the gap. We have to identify the gap in the existing research. State the objectives of your study. That we have to identify we have to state the objectives according to the identified research gaps. So we have to remember that what is the research gap we have identified, and we have to frame the objectives according to that. And then methods, describe the context and setting of this study, specify the research design. It's all like as we discussed. We describe the population or all the overall farmers, patients, doctors, hospitals. If we are doing some research activity in the with respect to healthcare now because of COVID, there are many studies. The impact of COVID on the overall economy, the overall health of the population, and overall working capacity because the the people who have who just recovered from the COVID, the working capacity with respect to number of hours, the productive working capacity, it has reduced. So many people are saying like that it has been reduced. It has reduced by almost half an hour, or like in between they have to take some rest. There will be some breathing problems. So these are all cause and effect we have to identify, and we need to do the research and describe the sampling strategy. As we discussed, the sampling strategy, why we are choosing the respective area, or why we are studying studying the respective district, like that. And in intervention, why we are doing the describe the intervention. That is RCT, randomized control trials, which we make use in the economics to find out the behavioral studies or the like behavioral economics. So randomized control trials. Suppose if we are doing one research activity, we need to find out the effect of dissemination of information or access to the information in the particular rural area. For example, we have studied the intervention like ICT, information and communication intervention in different taluks in Karnataka, the Siruguppa and Navalgund. Siruguppa comes under irrigated area and Navalgund comes under rainfed area. So we have provided through the institution we have provided the information, the doorstep delivery of information to the 8,000 farmers of these two taluks. So this is the intervention, and there is additional 750 farmers who are in some other gram panchayat, like 20 plus 20 two different taluks, and seven gram panchayats have control, and five gram panchayats have control in the Sirgupa and Navalgund taluks. So it is a RCT program or the RCT design, research design, randomized controlled trials, where we are providing some treatment. That is, there is an intervention to the existing system. So the farmers are benefiting from the existing from the intervention given, that is doorstep delivery of information, as well as the providing the information regarding the pests and diseases in the form in the field itself. So there will be two difference within the intervention farmers before and after, and between the treatment and controls. So it is a difference in difference model we can make use of. So these are all actually with respect to describe the intervention. We need to make use of the particular identifying the main study variables. We have to study which are all the study variables, that is the extent of education, extent of land holding will be having direct impact or the direct connectivity with the extent of adoption of the improved the improved agricultural practices. So there will be some key variables which will be having the direct relationship with the extent of profit in the agricultural business or in the agricultural practice. So the number of years of experience in the agriculture will be having direct impact in the profit. So these are all some of the key variables we need to identify, and the report on data collection and data collection, and we need to describe the. This is very important in the result area of the chapter or in the particular. We need to mention the demographic, the age, education. That is a basic there will be different types in the research, right? There is a exploratory and then descriptive and then causal research. So this is this comes under exploratory and descriptive. So mentioning about the demographic, age, education, and the pattern of income distribution, all those everything comes under the demographic. So we should present the key findings with respect to the central research question. What is that research question? Which is nothing but our objective. The research question is our objective. We are trying to solve that particular question through the given methodology and through the given sample. And we will discuss about the obtained results. That is the primary data and secondary data we will analyze, and we will obtain some results, and we will discuss about the particular output obtained. And these are all about the typical structure of research paper. Common mistakes seen in the manuscripts submitted in this journal, that is in particular article that we are studying now. So the research question is not specified. Many times what will happen, the objective which we have designed will be some other one which is not at all important. The research work is not at all it is not having any importance. So the stated aim of the paper is the aim of this paper is to discuss what we did. So as I said in the previous when I was showing the PPT. So before going further into the research, we should have the basic information about the previous research. That is, we should identify the gaps. So if we fail in the gap identification of the gaps, the research will become vague actually. So it's a waste. So the structure of the paper is not in the proper way. So the structure of the paper with respect to introduction, and then some of the mentioning of some of the previous research work, the literature and the methodology. font and font size and representation of the citations and then the final references, particularly the references. Sorry, references. They follow some different styles, some different in our and it is very different in the different universities as well. Like almost 60 to 70% there will be common common methodology will be there in the reference, and there will be some small changes will be there in some of the research journals and some of the universities as well. So the manuscript does not follow the journal's instruction for the authors. And like for example, we have to maintain the 1.5 space lining space while submitting particular research article. For some article, for some journals, they will mention it like multiple lines. So we have to follow those instruction before the submission. Before the submission. Otherwise, we need to like they will just inform to submit as per the particular journal requirement. The paper much exceeds the maximum, much exceeds the it is very much like more than 15 pages, 20 pages will be there. We have to cut short or we have to reduce the overall content which we have submitted in the particular research article. Many times it happens because like as I gave the example of climate variability, like we are solving some research problem with respect to identification of climate variability, both temperature and rainfall, and then cropping pattern change, and then it change effect on the agricultural income, and then coping on adaptation strategies. So everything is interlinked. If we skip the cropping pattern change, then it will get diluted. So many researchers feel this actually it will get diluted. Like sometimes some of the research has to be published in being lengthy only, and sometimes many times they can publish in a small like with respect to just 5 to 6 pages also. So it is based on the extent of work which we are interested to we are actually solving some problem. So we need to understand the particular topic as well. And the introduction is an extensive review of literature. Like many times the introduction itself, some of the researchers make use of the like review of literature into the introduction. They will make use of many literature. Like they will cite some of the literature, some of the area into the introduction itself. So we should not do at most 5 to 10. We should not refer. We should not provide more information about the previous, like as I said, IPCC. And if we are having some other, if pre citation, we can mention. And if there is one more IPCC report, if we want to mention, we can mention. So maximum 5 to 10 in the introduction chapter, maximum. Otherwise, it will be like a review of literature only. The first chapter will be like the review of literature. We should avoid that. Methods, interventions, and the instruments are not described in the sufficient detail. This is also very good, very important. See the common mistake that we follow, that we like come across. We should mention and we should provide in detail information about the methodology followed in detail with respect to the formula of the cropping pattern change, the Markov chain analysis, the formula for homogeneity test, the formula for autoregressive error correction model, or some other regression, the time series analysis, the various ARIMA, or like we have to mention in detail about the particular methodology. We should not skip like even for even a small formula as well, because there will be some other upcoming researchers. They will make use of the like formulas which we have given for the upcoming studies. So the methodology is very important. You know, like it is like just like a tool. It's a tool. If we are not providing sufficient information in the tools, they will fail in analyzing some of the key areas in the upcoming research. So the methodology part is very important, and we need to mention the formulas particularly with most with high accuracy. We should not provide any there should not be any scope for the particular this one. And results are reported selectively. So we have to like make use of the results obtained, and we have to explain in detail in results and discussion. We should not selective, as I said just 5 minutes before. If it is too much of if the particular objective, if it is too much interlinked, we have to mention and we have to provide the information. We have to provide the information. So it is very important to mention the basic information that we have obtained from the from various objectives. Okay, reports of the results are reported selectively. So percentages without frequencies, like many times, like in the tabular analysis, for example, if we provide out of 240 farmers, 120 farmers from ripered area, 120 farmers from irrigated area, we'll just provide like 55, the number out of 120. We have to mention the percentages also. Out of 120 or out of 240, what is the extent of percentage for this particular like information, that is age, education, family number of members in the family, and then land holding, and number of borewells drilled till date. So all these things, like we have to represent both in the numbers as well as in the percentages. Why it is required to mention the number? Because we can able to say that this is the number, and as well as why it is very important to mention the percentages, because while doing the interpretation, we will look at the maximum and the minimum. Maximum, both outliers. We will look at the maximum and the minimum for the interpretation, and usually we will make use of the percentage. 60% of the farmers, they have drilled more than 8 borewells till date. 60% of the farmers out of 240 farmers. So we will make use of the percentages while doing the interpretation. So both within the given table, both representation of the data, actual data as well as the percentages are very important for the discussion, the representation of explanation about the research output. And the p values we have to mention, as I said, like we discussed, 1% level of significance, 5% and 10%, and in social sciences particularly the 10% level of significance will be there. And then like percentages, measures of effect, the same results appear both in the table and the text. Yeah, same the results, like we should not repeat, there should not be any duplicacy in the content either in thesis or in the research article. We should take utmost care. Detailed tables are provided for results that do not relate to main research question. That's what we discussed. So the like the methodology should solve the research objectives, and the research objectives should be having the linkage with the hypothesis that we are going to prove or disprove. If there is no linkage or if there is no connectivity between objective and the hypothesis, and between the objective and the methodology, then we will come across this particular error. That is, detailed tables are provided for results that do not relate to the main research question. That is the objective. We'll end up with this actually. So, in order to avoid all these like errors or the common mistakes, what is very important? That is the background, the specialization, the expertise, and then like discussion with the experts, and then the review of literature. This all provide like through this we could able to avoid those common mistakes. And then in the introduction and the discussion, key arguments are not backed by the appropriate references. Like the IPCC, we will mention in the introduction that due to the climate variability or the climate change, the global climate, the global maximum temperature or the average temperature has increased by 2 degrees Celsius. Within the bracket, we need to mention that we are mentioned in the particular the IPCC report, IPCC 2021 or 2020. So the key arguments, it should be backed up by the key references and key and appropriate references. Key references means IPCC is the like main organization which provides the some like key insights in the overall. And in India it is IMD bulletins, and Mausam journal which will IMD bulletins will provide the information, the IMD report. References are out of date, and like references should be most relevant references. Why it is very important to study the more relevant references is the most relevant references, the most prominent and relevant references will make use of the relevant reference of their previous one. So, like the petit test, which has been defined during 1965, we have to make use of that reference only. So there will be some statistical formulas will be there. We cannot ignore the previous studies, that is Markov chain analysis. We have to make use of that analysis itself, that reference itself. And there are some other references for the which are made use for the research and discussion, which is most relevant. We have to make use of the most relevant. For methodology, we cannot ignore the original reference, that one has to take care. We cannot mention the most relevant reference for the methodology, which is not followed from which is not original actually. The original will be the Markov chain analysis. or the petit test, which has been petit has defined a particular formula. So we have to mention petit test only in the reference. So these are all very important areas that the researcher or the academician one has to take care. The references mentioned in the references most relevant and the appropriate references. References are out of date and cannot be accessed by most readers, and the discussion does not provide an answer to the research question. So, as I said, if the result is not satisfying the particular research problem, or if it is not providing any answer to the research problem, how can we expect the discussion is solving some objective? So, results and discussion should be backed up with the given the methodology that we are solving some the framed or the designed objective. So the discussion overstates the implication of the result. This also we discussed in the PPT. That is, whatever the policy implications that we are suggesting, it should be backed up by the results and discussion. If it is not having any information, if it is not backed up by our results and discussion, then actually it becomes vague. Like we have studied something, some research topic, the climate durability, and if we are providing some policy implication with respect to age and education, like if we are not done the coping and adaptation strategies studies in the given study, we cannot provide the age and education policy implication, age and education of the farmers. So these are all key areas for the beginners in the in the academics or in the research area or in the research institutes as well, the scientists, young scientists. So the discussion overstated, yeah, the paper written in very poor English. Sometimes, like the poor English research article will also be accepted by well-known journals because the research outcome will be like that. So they will inform to go through the they will inform to improve the English content or the overall sentences because the overall whatever they are chosen the objectives and the methodology will be verified. So they will provide the review like that. So these are all about the particular topic, like how to writing research articles, writing research article, and some of the key concerns while going for uh, while writing the research article that we have to take care. Yeah, now it is open for the discussion. If anybody is having any some small doubts, Risha ma'am, if there is any doubt, please.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for your wonderful presentation, and thank you for being with us here today. And we have come to the end of the virtual workshop. I would like to call upon Professor Dr. Balakrishnan Parasuraman to give the valedictory address. Over to you, sir. Sir,
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, yeah. Okay. First of all, I'd like thanks to Jepler who become the moderator for today. First of all, I would like on behalf of Lavender Literature Club India, Chem Comrade Trust India, and Malaysian Industrial Relation Human Resource Management. As a patron of this conference, I would like to thanks to all the speakers, distinguished speakers, and also participants, and from Malaysia, I think India and many other countries. First of all, I'd like to thanks to Dr. Frank Jason, who's the president of the Literature Lavender Literature Club, and Dr. Regina also, Chem Comrade Trust India. And myself is the president of Malaysian Industrial Relation and Human Resource. I really thanks to all the committee members, especially the moderators from India and from Malaysia, especially Jepler, Silvamani, Naza, and also Jessica. So they are very young scholars, growing scholars to come forward to help as a volunteers. I believe that we are already passed through the COVID-19, and now many countries already opening the border. And I just heard that even Australia already opened, India and many countries open. So I think I would like to just tell all of you the research methodology and publication of papers are very crucial now. As far I know, I'm also sitting on the promotion board for lecturer to professor at my faculty. So I know A to Z what are the criteria we're looking for. So normally we're looking for the criteria on publication. That's a key, because any lecturers, those days, different story, but today, no. Today, even you got a PhD, we rejected. Many PhD holders were rejected because we asked questions, so what with the PhD without any publication. So I encourage all the young scholars here. We want to be promoted as a professor. You need to publish. No, you have no choice as academician. And now the demand is actually going to the even Scopus and ISI and H index. So now you can check H index in Google, in Scopus, and also ISI. So the life is not easy. I'm coming to the end already. I got another few years to go to retire. My time, your time different. But when I started as a lecturer, I start publish from the day one. Even though I don't have PhD at that time, I publish a lot of books and also papers all over the world. And most important, network is very important among you. I know that some of you just stay in India or just stay in Malaysia. That's all. But you need to communicate with the other scholars around the world. So the intention of this uh, workshop that me and Dr. Frank, Dr. Gina try to bring all of you to get together and also understand each other. In fact, in the process to launch few journals within our association, and I hope all of you can contribute the papers, and slowly we are going to upgrade the journal in the future to be Scopus. So again, I'm very glad. Hopefully, yeah, we all pray very hard. Next year, we are planning to face-to-face conference. I already talked to many scholars in Malaysia. Everybody very eager to go to, maybe first we plan to do in India. The next one maybe we are going to do in Malaysia, and the third one we are planning to do in Indonesia. So we already planned for the 3 years from now. I hope all the scholars in this room, please come forward and support each other. When you see face to face and totally different environment, and my intention is actually to bring scholars not only from both countries, India and Malaysia, but of course throughout the world. And I believe India has a very highly potential to grow within the region and also globally. So publication is one of the key to make ourselves known to the other scholars around the world. So that's why the final speaker, Dr. Sagar, was mentioning. I thank you, Dr. Sagar, and Dr. Najib and Dr. Jayasilan. All of you highlight very important issue. When I go through Dr. Sagar giving one slide, very important slide, you're giving the demerit of publication, and I believe this is what many editors looking for. And I believe most of you should go to the LinkedIn and try to get the auditors network. So LinkedIn is one of the best network for you to explore yourself. And my LinkedIn is there. You can communicate with me. A lot of people there also under my social media. I always like to promote our conference, and also I hope our workshop will be continued. But I told Dr. Frank and Dr. Regina most important publication. We are working one book chapter now, almost going to be published soon, and we are planning to launch next year face to face. So I hope during the congress we hope we can meet each other, and we exchange our ideas and so on. So I always believe we are citizens of the world. Don't make yourself isolated. You see, whenever I go in the world, I always tell everyone, I say that we are in the one citizen of the world to serve the mankind. So any research we do, it must related to the community and the policy of the country. So that's why my first presentation, when I was talking to many scholars, young scholars, in fact the senior, I hope that all of you understand that the importance of the research, very important research, to getting grant you can get around the world. Many grant available from Japan, from ILO, from World Bank, and many more. Okay, I able to get many grants in the past from many countries, from European until to Japan, Korea. So how I get it all this grant? Because my network. I try to communicate within my field. I hope all of you got your strength field, like marketing, accounting, or science. You need to know your colleagues within your field. Don't isolate yourself just India, but you must know who's working on the America and so on. Like myself, I'm working with the many scholars from the world, from Latin America, US, Australia, and Asian, countries. So from that point, I'm able to publish a lot. So with this workshop, I hope please come again and try to understand each other. And everyone is actually got a talent, ability, and I believe God can bless all of you. Your aim is actually to be professor, but profess in the field of you want to profess. Don't simply do everything. Sometimes you don't know what to do. After PhD, you try to do many things because you're so exciting. You never focus on your field. You just do it, this, do that. Don't do that. Okay. When you after PhD, you focus on your field and you try to get your PhD masters. Like I got about 25 students working under me, doing masters and PhD, the same field but different perspective. So I'm growing a lot of young scholars working under me. So I'm very proud to see that they are come from different background, but they're all working towards one area that is industrial relation and human resource. So you have to do that. Don't simply when you do your PhD on accounting, you're going to do something else for economics or whatever. Don't do that. It's actually you don't put your long-term plan for yourself and also for the country. So I hope in this workshop we're able to clearly understand the importance of the research method and how research method can draw a good publication. And please go to Scopus and ISI. That's your focus. Don't go to you can go to Index Journal. It doesn't matter. In the beginning, yes, I encourage the young scholar go to any, but the final one must go to Scopus and ISI. That is a final. You have no choice. Choices limited for you because all the universities want to rank the best university in the rank. So they all compete. It's competition now. The world is competition. So if you don't go on this competition, and you will lose it. Finally, you will be regret and you will be suffer later on because your promotion based on the publication. So that's my personal advice, all of you. Because I'm already coming to the end. I've got another few years to go. I'm just retiring and then I'm just pass over the knowledge to a young scholar. But you guys still young, still energetic. You need to run now. You cannot wait and see. You have to run. You cannot walk. You run, and you have to go around the world and talk to the people and talk to the to get a grant and think about what next. So then you can see a lot of things will come to you. That's what I did when I was young lecturer. I tried to communicate a lot of my professors around the world. And you be humble yourself. Always remember, humble yourself. Don't be so proud. Don't pride. Humble yourself. Willing to learn. In fact, I learn from my students. A lot of my students teaching me. Even though I'm professor, I learn each other. So that's what you have to do. Humble yourself. Be kind to everyone and help each other, and usually success. So with that note, I congratulate again to all the participants. Be smile. Always be relaxed. Don't be stressful. Japlet, smile all the time, okay? Don't be serious, okay? You're so young. And I believe God will be with us. See you again next workshop. And of course, we will plan for you next year for face-to-face. I hope everybody come and enjoy. We got gala dinner, we got entertainment, we got all these package together, even holiday package, everything. So that's why a lot of Malaysians are excited to go to India. When I say Kerala, oh, they say, wow, a great prof. So I think many people want to go out from the country, and this is the best time for us. Okay, thank you very much. See you again. Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Thank you,
very much.
Dr.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
yes,
Thank you, ma'am.
yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Dr. Sagar, how are you?
Yes, sir. Fine, sir. Fine, sir.
Yeah. Malaysia is getting now midnight already.
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir. We will meet, sir.
Yeah. We wish we visit. I like to visit India. Long time I didn't been to India. Actually, now Malaysia want to work with India now. They are very much looking at India. So that's why this conference is very good.
Yes, Yes, sir. If there is any faculty exchange program, sir, definitely we
Yeah,
could
yeah.
try, sir.
Yeah. I think your paper is very good. You are telling the right thing. So if someone listen to you, I think they will get published in a good journal.
Yes, sir. Sir, in the last month, sir, I received the like article from the IMD, sir, India Meteorology Department. They published one article, one journal, MAUSAM, sir,
Okay.
MEAUSAM journal. I got the
Oh,
publication from the MAUSAM journal, sir. And the
okay.
central government used to provide 6,000 rupees for the farmers. That what I was
Oh,
explaining. Actually, like I have proposed in the PhD research work itself, sir, like some years before. Because of climate emergency,
okay.
the agricultural income will be under stress for the rainfed farmer, particularly. So,
Oh,
yes, sir. And even
oh,
I pursued the PDF from IIM Bangalore, sir, Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore, sir.
okay. Okay. Congratulations. Well done.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I want to see more good news for all of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the
Okay.
opportunity,
Okay.
sir.